All right, Shalawam, Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, the Bawanas of the Apostles and the Elders of Great Millstone, and Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH, the elect out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. All right, and Slakia. Now, as you can see on the screen, and the name of this title, it says, "Why can't black men and black women get along?" Mandy Savage interview. So it's this guy, as you can see here from the channel name, O'Shea Do Jackson. I watch some of his material a little bit from time to time. And, a bunch of these other different YouTubers on stuff that they speak on as far as, so-called black people or why we in this condition and this, that, and the third. And, from the title alone, you could see how simple Jake is, and you can see how lost our people is, that they can't even answer this simple ass question. Our people wonder so much why we can't get along, why we can't do this, why we can't do that, when we have the truth. The men out there on the corners, the average Jake, who they would take to be nothing, that's just standing on the corner preaching the word of Yahawah. We have the truth. We have the answers to these basic ass questions that are stumping Jake out here, man. And this is what lets us know even more so how we have the truth, because it's simple as shit like this, man, that Jake just don't seem to understand. That's why we truly have to be grateful for this knowledge, because all of these answers that our people were seeking, they are so basic. If they will only tap into their power source and they could see how basic these answers are. Now, whether they accept it or not is a whole different thing, but at least they can see it for themselves, or they should be able to see it clearly, But and that made me I want to grab this scripture, but it made me think of something else real quick. It's in the 20th. Is 1 Corinthians 1 and which 1 Corinthians 1 and 25, and it says, "Because the foolishness of Yahawah is wiser than men, and the weakness of Yahawah is stronger than men." I jump to verse 27. It says, "But the Most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and Yahawah have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, and base things of the world and things which are despised have Yahawah chosen, yea, and the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are." So basically, the Most High is taking these smallest concepts, in a worldly fashion. These people can't get these simple concepts. And it's the simplest things, that confound these people that are so-called wise within the society. You have your top scholars and your PhDs and your people that, the political activists and stuff like that. They can't even figure these things out, man. They try to come up with, if we set up these programs and do all this, it don't matter what you set up, man. Esau is not allowing it, and the Lord is not allowing it, man. We were brought to America to suffer, and that's it. And to be delivered out of America, from the Lord, But people, they can't get these simple ass things, man. And every time, I come across something, man, I'm just like, yo, we really like that show, The Walking Dead. You know what I'm saying? We really are in the land of the Walking Dead for real, man. We in a place full of zombies, and it's very few of us that actually, see the light. And we just trying to make it out here to survive and to get through this zombified world, man. This is Romans 11 and 7. And it says, "What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blotted." Okay? So we see these things clearly. We see these simple concepts, and we know the answers to them clearly. But the Most High have blinded the rest of them. They can't even if we probably explained it to them, they still wouldn't accept it, man, because that's the hard-headedness, that's the stubbornness of Jake. You know, the Lord said, what, we are a hard-headed people, you know? So, matter of fact, what's the next scripture I wanted to bring out? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is Deuteronomy, because it's the answer to, the question here. Why can't black men and black women get along? Here's the answer. It's plain and simple, man. Plain as day. Deuteronomy 28 and 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So that's as far as the man, right? Now, with the woman, verse 56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not set a venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, towards her son and towards her daughter. Okay? So this gives you the reasons why. The curses that the Lord Yahawah, okay, have put upon us, man, for all of our betrayals against him and for us sinning against him, man. This is why, black people can't, so-called black people can't get together and, make a business happen together or something like this. And it's not, this is a black thing, but I'm just hitting it from an aspect of what these people think, because it's all about our nation, which consists of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, okay? The so-called African Americans of America, the so-called Jamaicans and West Indians, the so-called Haitians, and all our brothers, that's so-called Hispanics and our Native American brothers, that's here on the soils of America and throughout the four corners abroad. That's what this thing is all about. Our people as a nation, there's no other people that have been done dirty the way that we have been done, since this earth began. It's us that's constantly at the bottom. And this is why we're suffering and why we have these plagues amongst our people, amongst one another, brother to brother, or a man towards a woman, or a woman towards a man. And it's the prime example of why, these women is straight wild beasts out here, man, towards they dudes, man. There's no logic, there's no sense in them. It's just, them as I believe Apostle Ricard be saying, the so-called black woman is the white man's pit bull, man. And we see that all the way through, We see that all the way through. They willing to do anything for the so-called white man, but up against they man, they willing to constantly buck up and do this and do that, and to send them to jail, which is completely out of order, And it's a precept that I want to go to. Is the book of Proverbs, the 7th chapter, right? And we see the different characteristics of the so-called black and Hispanic woman all throughout these scriptures as well, right? This is Proverbs 7 and 11. It says what? She is loud and stubborn. Now, who else does that fit more than the so-called black woman? You don't see the other, the women of the other nations being as loud and as stubborn and as disrespectful to their men out in public as the so-called black or Hispanic woman, okay? She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. This is why you have situations where, kids get killed, primarily because the so-called black woman to go out to a club and leave her 3 or 4 children in there asleep, and something that happens, something drastic can happen because her feet don't abide in her house. She doesn't truly know how to be a keeper of the household as she should, as is what her duty requires her to do. She only knows according to the things in which she has in her mind set forth to do, and that's be loud and stubborn. That's to gad abroad. That's to live her life how she sees fit, regardless of how many kids she has, regardless of whatever her situation is. All women's ways is their wants. That's it. Now, when you look at the way that the Most High set up the order of man and woman, right? To go to 1 Corinthians 11 and 1, right? Well, I start at verse 3. It just straight to hit the point. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is YAHAWASHI, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of YAHAWASHI is Yahawah. Okay? Now, I'm going to jump down to verse 5. It says, I'll jump down to verse 6, because I want to get to the point. Verse 7, Salakia. Verse 6. For if the woman be not covered, a reference to her hair, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Yahawah, but the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Okay? So we see all of these different things, and we know ultimately that what? A woman's glory is her hair. Okay? And a man's glory is supposed to be the woman. But that's not so within these time frames, the way how we see things, man. Everybody out here ratchet. Everybody want to be a so-called savage, as they say. So when we look at the way that the Most High structure order, you have Yahawah, you have YAHAWASHI, you have man, a woman, then a woman for her hair. All images of glory, right? So we are the Most High's glory. The woman is supposed to be our glory, but what is the woman's glory? The woman's glory is her hair. So when you look at the word love, love is supposed to be a sacrifice, right? And I say that according to scripture, right? This is John 14 and 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments, right? In verse 24 it says, he that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. So love is a sacrifice. Love, because what? We losing our lives for the Lord by keeping the commandments and trying to be as upright as we possibly can within this wicked ass society, and stay true to ourselves and stay true to our higher power, Yahawah and YAHAWASHI, right? So love is a sacrifice, and love takes action. So what is the woman sacrificing? What is the a man in his natural nature? He's what? Sacrificing certain things, never sacrificing the Lord, but he's sacrificing certain things to what? To please his woman. But what? The woman is all about her hair. So that shows you that a woman's love is more self-centered than a man's love is. The man's love is towards another being. Her love is towards her hair, because that's her glory. So a woman's love, or her so-called love, is self-centered as hell. She's all about herself. And we clearly see that from the signs and the times in which we living in, and how these women are dealing out here, man. And also, to read this title again, why can't black men and black women get along? And during, so I watched a little bit of it. I think it was like at 15, 20 minutes or something like that I watched of it. I ain't watched the whole thing. It's too long. But he asked a question to her, right? And he said, why is it that, the chicks seem to choose the wrong guy? It's like they don't want to choose the guy that, may want to do a business or, do the right thing, and he's, a so-called good man and all this stuff, but they go after somebody who isn't worth a damn. He asked her that question. Now, that's typical within the society, but yet a woman to complain about this and that and the third. And this is why these women, going back into the ancient world, their husbands were chosen by their father, okay? Because they don't know what it is to have the proper insight to choose a man. Because all women are naive and they're fickle, man. and they lack understanding. They're just emotional based creatures. Okay, so going into Job 30 39 and 17, it hit the point. It says, because Yahawah have deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding. Okay, this is why they pick, the dudes that they do, because they don't have no understanding. He didn't impart to them, the same type of wisdom that a man would have. Okay, so going to this precept here, okay, this is in the Apocrypha. This is the book of Sirach 42, and I'm going to start at verse 9. Now, when in today's society, they don't really look at it as too much as far as, the father giving away the daughter at the wedding. To them, that's just tradition. But no, that's supposed to mean a whole totally different thing according to Scripture, because we know that the daughter is always supposed to be underneath the protection of a man. And her first line of protection is her father. And her father is supposed to choose to give away his daughter, to the right person. Because what? A man knows best. A woman don't know shit. All they know is what they see that's in front of them. Because they gullible and they'll go for anything, man. So this is the book of Sirach 42 and 9, and it says, the father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care of her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled, and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. Okay? So this clearly showing you why the father is supposed to look after the daughter, and why she's supposed to be passed off to a man of and if you give her over to a man of understanding. Okay, because they don't know no goddamn better, man. They're not built for it, man. They don't have the same what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word, but they don't have the same wisdom that a man has in general to make those right decisions. So ultimately, what the answer to why so-called black men and black women don't get along, it all goes back to the curses, man. It all goes back to the curses. Everything goes back to the Scriptures, and our people will continue to be lost out here until they realize this fact. And it's a simple fact to understand once the Lord imparts that wisdom unto you to understand. Because one more scripture real quick, because the Scriptures also say this, right? Proverbs 14 and 6, it says, a scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not, but knowledge is easy to him that understandeth. So if the Lord imparts, the spiritual sight for you to get this knowledge, then these certain principles that the world is struggling over, it will be easy for you to pick up, for easy you to understand, to interpolate, and to speak on it, sensibly, according to Scripture, and it applies unto us as a nation in this current world, which most people don't think that the Bible has anything to do with our lives today. It has everything to do with our lives today, because this is us. We are the people of the Scriptures, and everything shows our characteristics, how we deal with one another, our personalities, everything about us in general, man, why we're in this condition, so on and so forth. It all goes back to these Scriptures, and it all goes back to the curses, man, So, I just hope this segment was edifying, because there's so many more things like this, Lord willing, I'll get into as well. Our people ask the simplest stuff, and all you got to do is go right to the source, the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I hope this segment was edifying, and I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH, YAHAWAH, elect out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam.